Experience-Driven NetOps provides the capabilities to generate alarms using experience performance data comparing against baseline. So instead of a traditional standard or static threshold, NetOps provides the ability to generate a baseline when performance indicators have deviated from a baseline average. And that baseline average is computed over the same hour of day, the same day of week. So you're comparing Monday at 9 a.m. to Monday at 9 a.m. and not comparing out of scope timeframes. And it provides the ability to define whether you want to trigger an alarm when that metric deviates based off a percentage of the baseline or from a number of standard deviations. Here's an example of an alarm I have generated. You can see here that a threshold violation has been raised. The profile name is deviation from baseline, and my rule name is round trip time plus 50% baseline for 15 out of 15 minutes. And you can see that here. The alarm rule name gives me here a round trip time greater than 50% of baseline. These are really easy to configure. In NetOps Portal, all you need to do is go over to User Settings, Manage Threshold Profiles. And in your threshold profiles, you may have an existing folder, or you can create a new folder. And we allow hierarchical frameworks, so nested folders, etc. If we're going to look at the alarm that I just created, I have that rule created as a threshold profile here, large deviation from baseline. You can see here I have two rules, so there's two situations when this may occur. One of them is related to latency at 20% higher than baseline for 5 out of 15. It's very noisy, it's for demonstration reasons. And then this rule related to baseline round trip time being 50% higher than normal for 15 out of 15. Again, this generates a decent number of alarms. You're going to want to figure out the right values for you. It's going to depend on the type of traffic being measured by the path, the distance, things like that. But this is going to give you the ability to kind of normalize against some common or standard performance and behavior characteristics for that particular path. Now, if we take a closer look, I can click this Edit Profile button, and this is going to provide me now with a rule specific to this particular profile. You can see rule number 1 is latency, and rule 2 is this round trip time. I can take this a bit further and click Edit here, and this is where I've defined this particular rule. Now, I could also include other attributes. So, for example, if I wanted to include the round trip time and also triggering when it's above an absolute value, for example, I could say when it's above 250 milliseconds. So this will now trigger only when it's both violating its baseline and above this 250 millisecond value. So this begins to provide more controls. It's important to note here that this is an implicit AND, meaning this will always be an AND, not an OR condition. You can see when all of these conditions are met. So you need to ensure that your profiles are built in a way that it's going to trigger the alarm